Challenges that teachers of Mandarin face is that Chinese is a relatively newly taught language in this country, so they're changing things, they're introducing something new. And also it's a little bit different, as you might have noticed, from European languages. It has no cognates, so you can't really second guess what things might mean. It's written in Chinese characters. You can't tell how you pronounce the characters from looking at them, so the children have to learn pinyin, which is the Romanized form of the character, as well as the actual character itself. And they also have to learn Chinese tones. So there are some challenges, but I would like just to make a plea for the fact there are some very easy bits as well, because Chinese verbs don't conjugate, nouns don't decline. So putting Chinese together is actually quite a lot easier than a European language. The toolkit will address a lot of these challenges because, firstly, it provides clear guidance on how to use the resources. So it's not just a set of resources, but it provides guidance. And that's important, again, because Chinese is relatively new on the curriculum. That means a lot of the teachers who are teaching Chinese are relatively new to the business of doing it. So it provides a lot of support, the toolkit. Secondly, it particularly, I think, in the Chinese reading side of things, the many resources that involve reading, it helps the student break down the language. It doesn't give you a passage of Chinese and say, well, get on with it, translate it, here are the questions. It shows the students how to break it down, and it gives teachers clear guidance on how to support the students to do that. And then finally, obviously, with the speaking, again, it encourages spontaneous use. That's relatively easy for Chinese because children can piece together the language without worrying about whether things are agreeing or not, like they have to worry for a European language. There are no tenses in Chinese, so they don't have to worry about all those things, but they do need some support to be able to use the target language. And again, the toolkit gives teachers and students the wherewithal to do that.
The main purpose of the toolkit is not to prescribe how to teach, but to inspire different approaches. So as we've got the new GCSE, that also comes with new challenges. And I can say from my own experience that you can get used to teaching in a certain way, and it's not necessarily always effective. It might be for a certain amount of time, but as, say, the specification changes, we also need to adapt to do specification and try different ways to achieve greater attainment. So this toolkit really is a treasure chest of resources for teachers. They can adapt them and recycle them according to their own purposes. So for example, with Classroom Talk, we have something called Picture Talk, which is all set up for you. The only thing you have to change is the picture, and it's high impact, and it will ensure a target language rich environment and get students used to using the language in the lessons, along with their talk mats, which also supplement that, and classroom displays, which are also included within the toolkit, which complement the talk mats and complement the activities, which will help teachers have everything at their disposal to create a language-rich atmosphere.
I think it's benefiting teachers in their everyday classroom practice, giving them some resources and guidance on how to use them. We have 3 areas that they need to, they really need to think about, and those are all covered in the toolkit. French, German and Spanish has got a lot of resources. There aren't huge numbers of resources for Chinese. This gives you the resources to enable you to learn to address the major things that are coming up in the new GCSE, to address them, but also to know how to do it, so that there aren't just one-off activities, but there's a lot of different activities, so that you can use the toolkit, get planning, and plan it for the whole year, really, rather than just think, oh, well, this is a bit, and I'll just get this bit of a translation activity from the internet and use that. So I think that's really what it is. It gives a structure to what's required. Adopting the classroom talk methodology to promote speaking in Mandarin will obviously encourage spontaneous speaking. Up until now, I think a lot of classroom talk has been about children learning role plays off by heart, getting very good at them, but learning them off by heart and then practicing them in pairs. That's not to say any of the spontaneous classroom talk ideas in the toolkit have never been used before by any of our teachers. That's clearly not the case. People do try these things from time to time, and some teachers use them, ideas like this, pretty well. But many don't, and what they don't do necessarily is use them in a planned manner and really think about it. It comes out naturally. But what the Pearson Toolkit encourages you to do, and it has all that, the teacher evaluation, the talk mats, various other things there, which encourages you to think about how you're going to encourage spontaneous talk. And again, it's this idea of using it as part of a strategy for the year. You've got it all there. It'll take a bit of time to read all the files, but if you read all the files and look at the materials, then you're going to be set up for the year, and you can think strategically how you want to get the children progress that year, and how are you going to get there if by using the spontaneous talk methodology to get your children speaking.
And the new specification requires a variety of such literary texts. So, for example, there's not just poems, but there's also tongue twisters for the earlier learners, which are fun and engaging to do for them. There's also the extracts from fables, idiom stories, as Chinese is a very idiomatic language. And then again, there's translation, which is a skill which needs to be developed. It's not something that comes naturally to students. So there's translation guidance, Chinese to English, English to Chinese, and scaffolded across all the way from year 7 to year 11 to ensure the students have the skills that they need to do well in the GCSE.
If you follow this approach, what you do, and all the little guidances by each text, is you look at what you can do, underline what you can do, find some of the structures you know, and it helps you gradually break down the text so that you know what it means. It gets you, from the literature point of view, when especially the classical Chinese poems that are in there, to look at characters on an individual basis and work out what their meaning is. That is absolutely vital for progressing in Chinese. And I think that is really what's going to be, very good for the GCSE, but also very good for deconstructing the Chinese language. It helps you do it in a planned and guided way, and helps the student move away from panic because there's a bunch of characters on this page that I don't understand, to a more positive approach, which is look at what I can do, underline what I can do, tick what I can do, and then gradually build it up so that actually I do understand this passage, or at least most of it.
What it also will encourage as well, which is what we really hope for, is more collaborative dialogue between all 4 languages, say if that was on offer in a school, where they'll find that the pedagogical approaches are very similar across all 4 languages and not necessarily unique to one. And hopefully that will bring a more kind of cohesive environment and kind of a well-knit, close-knit team in a school, which will enhance teaching and learning across the board.
Give it a whirl and you will be surprised how motivating it is for the children involved, and also you'll be surprised that they can actually do it. It's not impossible to do.